And welcome to yet another installment of Meet the Polymaker. I'm your host, Joel, and we're here to learn stuff and meet new people. That's what we do every single week. If you're new here, we talk 3D printing news, we share awesome prints from our community that are shared in our Discord, and ultimately, we meet a new maker that is in the space, whether they're a modeler, they're just printing awesome projects, they do content, they are CEOs, they run other filament companies, everything in between. We like to invite everybody we can onto the show to meet them and see how did they get started and what are they doing now. So we'll get to that in just a bit. But real quick, before we jump to the news, I am awesome. You are all awesome, whether you watch us every day, or not every day, that would be kind of weird, every Thursday or not. Still type it in there. This is only activated for Twitch. If you're on YouTube and you hear my voice, go over to Twitch, enter it in there real quick. But you'll see that there, type it in. I'll give you a chance to enter one more time at the end of the show. With that said, let's head into hot end headlines. And first up, we're going to talk about resin. Yes, I know Polymaker doesn't do resin. Will we ever? I don't know. Nothing I've been told. Nothing that I could even talk about even if I was told. But the company has created a nature-inspired resin. And what is cool about this, there's a lot of the different types of resins, more eco-friendly resins. This is different because it's kind of a 2-in-1. The reason it's that way is how it is developed. Normally it is cured through UV light. Most resins in the 3D printing aspect at least are. This is a little bit different take on that. So it can actually be cured with violet light and ultraviolet light, which are two different waveforms and will actually cure the resin differently. Ultraviolet will make it a lot more rigid, a stiff, your normal type of resin. And then a violet light will actually harden it just to the point of being kind of sticky and flexible. So you can actually kind of get think about PLA and TPU out of one filament. This is kind of that aspect. So they're able to do joints, tendons, and bones, and get that to where it's all the same material or the same resin. So it's got a lot better, stronger bond than if you do like multi-material like TPU and PLA. They don't bond the strongest together. So this changes that. So it allows a lot of cool medical aspects. But I'm not sure, I couldn't find the price on it. But it could lead to really cool projects in the home world if you get a printer that can do both lights. So there is a little bit extra there. You're gonna have to buy some new hardware, or maybe somebody would do a DIY thing and purchase this and have some fun with it. So we will have to stay tuned and see what happens. Next up, we're going to talk about a new printer in the market-ish. It is a Kickstarter. We don't tell anybody to go to a Kickstarter. I'm just showing you what's out there. You make your financial decisions on your own, but this is the Paxatron. It is going to be touted to be a dual extruded or extruder printer, basically an IDEX. But even though the picture doesn't look like it, they're touting a 350 by 350 by 450 build plate. That's pretty large, along with the dual print heads that are fully independent of each other to allow multi-material, multi-color, high precision, and for a price range around $899. I think that's the Kickstarter price. But again, new company, new printer. Will it come out and be amazing? It very well could be. It is Kickstarter. I'm not promising anybody that if you put your money to this, you're going to get the printer in due time and it's going to work great. But just a cool, different design to where the bed is centered. And then the frame, of course, you can still have that kind of i3 frame. There's a name for it. I can't remember. Not Cartesian? Whatever. Anyway, it's got an arch. And it moves all independently inside that with a giant screen. It looks very good. A nice finish. Again, well, hopefully we maybe see some review units or prototype units getting out to hands of creators so we can see what's really going on with it. And next up, we all know Cheaty or Cheaty Tech or Keaty or Cutie or Kitey. I mean, there's a number of things. I'm told it's cheaty, but this is the cheaty box. This is going to be compatible right now with the cheaty plus 4. It is not released until later this year. You can actually order it or pre-order right now. I think it's September is the estimated time for shipping. But it's kind of what we see. It's a cookie cutter of everything else. It is 4 spools that'll auto feed through. You can link up to 4 of them to make 16 colors. The couple different things. It does have the drying, which we've seen in a couple other ones, up to 65C active drying inside of the chamber. But it's also got hardened steel dual gears, dual feed hardened steel extruder gears, and they're saying that it feeds even tough composites like carbon fiber and fiberglass materials. Usually that's not recommended through AMS because it can jam up or it can wear out things. Do they have it built strong enough to hold up to those? Ideally it'd be great, because the Cheetah is kind of a more of an engineering level printer. I mean, it's still consumer, but it does higher temp. It has 370-degree temp on the hot end, so you can throw a lot more material through it. Ideally this works well, but again, it's one of those things we have to wait until they start getting in the hands of creators, seeing some actual real world use and some reviews. The price right now is $288 USD. So if you were looking to get it, you can pre-sale or purchase, pre-order, whatever you want to call it, right now on their website. Next up, we're going to talk healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, medical, etc. But this is going to be not just 3D printing in the aspect of healing things, but also using AI. So doctors are using AI to actually map out, on this individual specifically, map out the wound, so then they can actually use a fat-derived graft to 3D print, and then I want to say install, but I guess surgically implant onto the wound. This is not a complete skin graft. What the idea is they actually take fat cells from the patient and mix it with a bio ink to create basically a fatty layer that will promote growth of the skin, so the body actually regenerates over top of it, healing the wound in 2 weeks. This was a critical wound, so it was quite deep. I, of course, wasn't going to show that on this, but here's the printer that prints it, likely the doctor that helped with it. But again, the advancements that we're seeing to be able to not only heal something, make something a little bit more easy, accessible, customizable on the spot, but to now excel that healing. So again, great things that we're seeing in medical, and we'll continue seeing them. And next up, or last up, we're going to talk Zellerfeld, which we've talked about many times. They make shoes. They make 3D printed shoes. They have actually some very cool designs. They've done a handful of collaborations with different companies. Hugo is another company, but different than the other ones we've talked about in the past is these are more fancy footwear. These are loafers. So, you know, if you got a night out with the wife, you got a nice fancy dinner planned, you might want a pair of loafers instead of some Hey Dudes or some sneakers. And you know what? Now you can get 3D printed ones. They come in multiple colors. Didn't see the price on these, but they are available. They were first seen on the runway in June in France. And it's going to be in pop-ups in Milan and Amsterdam, available for sale. What's nice with Zellerfeld, these are no different, is you can actually scan your foot, get dimensions, and get kind of custom footwear 3D printed to made to fit your feet perfectly. So I've never been able to put on a pair of those yet. They're $300, I think, for standard Zellerfelds, but it's got a really long wait time, and I'm impatient. But I'd be interested in hearing some feedback from somebody that does have some Zellerfeld shoes, or maybe we'll have the creator on here soon. But that is it for the news, and we're going to head over to Spool to Spotlight to check out some community prints. I didn't drink fast enough. I need to transition longer. First up, we got a print by Solar 3DP, and it's Yoda. And I forgot to take the Maker World off, but I'm sure it's probably available in Maker World. But I don't know by who, and I did not get the feedback in time to see who has this. But if you search Yoda, you're probably going to find this. But it's just a really cool print, multicolor. And I always love the contrast when people use the darker colors and like the lightsabers in neon or bright, just because it has that pop. And of course, in the movies, those lightsabers pop. Next up, we have a print by Midnight Wolf, and this is a design by Bearded Printer. It's the lovely lighthouse, available on Things, and it's what you see. It's a lovely lighthouse lamp that can just light up and not be a super bright, but just enough to kind of set the nice calm mood for the day. And then next up we have Jay, who has printed the Vampire Prince that's designed by Bulk Mancer Sculpts. Spelled sculpts wrong. That was on me. This is available on My Mini Factory. And this one, it was nice because I love seeing these ones is because they're not huge. They're decent sized prints, but the detail that you can get with FDM now. This is in the process of painting it. I don't know if it's, he mentioned that maybe it's his first time painting or first time using this type of paint, but hats off to anybody that has the steady hand to paint anything that's 3D printing, because I've tried it and just not good. Not good at all. Next up we have a print by Silverback, and that's not the floppy whale. That is completely wrong. Let's take that off. That is an archway. It's a game piece for tabletop gaming. We're not really showcasing the print here, but more so that support. And it's, I think it was a organic tree support or slim tree support. It's kind of a mix between a tree support and regular supports. He shared this with me, and both were amazed at how it looked and that it was completely successful in the task that it was there for, of supporting the that center arch. And just again, love awesome models, awesome painted models, but it's also cool to see things like unexpected things or fails. This is not a fail, but it is definitely a cool unexpected print. So thanks for sharing. And last up we have Leon Nillian. Yeah, you know, you see it, it's right there, it's on the screen. I don't have to pronounce it. Deku Shield, which is a life-size shield that he incorporated some leather strap with, also buckle, so you can actually wield it like an actual shield. This is available on Maker World. You can search Deku Shield, or you can search that name I didn't pronounce right. So any of these prints are all shared on our show off prints. If you have questions for those that have designed it or printed it, make sure to go check off show off prints at discord.polymaker.com to get inspired or show some prints yourself, whether it's the good, bad, the ugly. We take them all. But that is it for the show off prints. We're going to go to commercial break, and after that we're going to meet our next maker. And just keep your eyes on the commercials, because they're all DIY commercials, homemade fun stuff from team members and community. And you also, if you have your own idea and you want to put one together, you can get up to $100 gift card from Polymaker for filament and product. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Has this ever happened to you? Have you just been minding your own business and you drop your PLA print? There's gotta be a better way. Well, now there is. With our Polylite PLA Pro, you won't have to worry about dropping your PLA prints ever again. Just look how these tests held up to our drop test, the same one that we did with PLA. If you need even more impact resistance, make sure you check out our Polymax PLA. This hammer is no match for Polymax PLA.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch! I dropped it again from the 12th floor, and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external conditions. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Are you into cosplay and prop making? Are you tired of having to break out those power tools to sand those lines away? And don't forget about all that hand sanding. Cramps. Ouch. Introducing Polymaker's Cos PLA. Available in 2 different versions. Version A and version B. Both versions are still easier to sand than standard PLA. Find out more at us.polymaker.com.
Aliens have come to take over our planet. What will we do? With modern technology and superior materials, we may have a chance. The only good bug is a dead bug. Polymaker. Add to your game.
And welcome back to the show. I hope you enjoyed those commercials with one new one in there. I finally refreshed them a little bit, so appreciate the entry, the latest entry from Silverback Creations or Silverback. But we are all here to meet our maker. Not really meet a maker. I shouldn't say our. That sounds bad. We're here to meet a maker. You're probably going to recognize the name, and if you don't, you've probably downloaded one of his models and printed it, and it probably is adorned on a shelf somewhere in your home. Let's welcome in Jacob, or the Kiln. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Happy that the audio is working now. So
Yeah, for sure.
you'd never know coming into this scene, as it sometimes will come back
Right.
and, or go back out, and yeah. So welcome in. Real quick, for those that don't recognize you or don't recognize the name, which I'd be shocked, but if so, who are you and what do you do?
I mean, evidently, I'm your maker. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the name.
I said it. It's one of those things I always say, and I hear it, and then it's like, nope, that was wrong.
Like,
We
whoops.
met our maker.
Yeah. My name's Jake, though. Yeah, I'm the designer behind the Kiln. So I've been designing models for like a year and a half now that are available online. I mean, I've been designing models for years and years, but been sharing models for about a year and a half online, available for download and purchase. So I'm found on like things.com. I have some stuff on other sites. I started off under another name. It was Big Bricks. It was like big, like Lego figures, big brick figures.
And something came about it in that.
Right. Did that for a bit and then kind of pivoted after that. I mean, we can chat about that, but it's kind of high level. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course you've been modeling and everything else, which we'll get to that there. Now 3D printing wise, I would imagine, did you start 3D printing before you started modeling, or vice versa?
3D printing came after modeling. So I
Okay.
started kind of kind of a long story. I started college back in 2014, mechanical engineering. So that's when that's like when I
Engineering, why
first
I'm not
got
surprised.
right. That's like when I first got introduced to CAD. And I think I used like CATIA back then. Like no like hobbyists use it. It's like industry stuff. And I haven't touched it since like that first semester I used it. Anyway, so I started school then, and I took a little break. And then when I came back to school, everybody was using SolidWorks. So then I got into SolidWorks for a few years, and used that a ton. And that's actually what I started with when I like first got into 3D printing. So I got into 3D printing like right when COVID happened. So it was perfect because I had like a lot of time with my printer. I was still in school, but like everything was remote. So like I just sat next to my printer for months, and it was sweet because I just got to
throwing things
print.
at it, and
Right,
learning what works, what doesn't work, and
Right. I just got to print a ton of stuff. And that was actually when I made like my first like brick figure, and then I sat on it for a few years, and then released it online later. But yeah, 3D printing for sure for me started off as like an aid for my schooling, like in mechanical engineering. So like if I first used it
the
to
modeling
like
start was more like with the mechanical engineering stuff and more CAD work rather than fun stuff.
right
Fun
like
for
the
some
first
people.
totally like the first projects I used it on were like for like a robotics class, like a mechatronics class. So we were like building a robot. COVID happened like right in the middle of the semester, so we didn't get to finish it, but that was like the first like big project they had for it. And then I did like a ton of stuff, like just like I feel like what everybody does, or everybody does at some point, maybe like post like a Facebook post and be like, hey, I'll print anything for you. Like I'll print stuff, or like if you need like a tiny thing design, I'll do. You go on Facebook and you see a million of those. I was one of those guys.
I've always noticed doing that though. Is like especially even back then, it's a little bit more in the know now of what 3D printing is and capable of, but there's still people that are clueless. And that's one thing I've always noticed when you throw it out there of like, hey, I can print you anything you want, or I can design you. Like people don't really get the range of what it is. So it's either they're shooting way low or they're shooting like way high. Like, so you can like print a TV. Like, no, I can't. I can print a case for a TV, but I can't print a TV.
Right.
But did you
Right.
get? Do you remember like what your craziest request was on through Facebook?
Yeah. The weirdest thing I ever printed somebody when I was in those days was a prosthetic for a chicken. They
So like
had
a
me
legit
design.
prosthetic for
They
the
legit
chicken.
had me design a prosthetic for a chicken. One of their chickens is like a pet chicken. They didn't have like a farm or anything. It had lost its leg, and they had me print a little prosthetic leg for this chicken. It's fantastic.
So now,
Yeah.
did they have like a scan or like how did they, or they just kind of tell you, hey, this is
They
the
just
rough
gave me
shape?
they sent me pictures with
Okay.
they had calipers. They sent me a picture with like calipers like measuring
Up
different
against the chicken.
aspects of the chicken stumps. Yeah, it was wild.
Somebody's walking by when you have that up on your computer, like, what are you looking at? Amputee chickens? Like, is that a thing? Like,
Right.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a group I'm joined. But
Evidently.
were they happy with the end product though? Like, did it actually work for the chicken?
The chicken died, unfortunately. Yeah, it passed away, but I think for the time it worked. I think they were happy with like the product.
Okay,
But yeah, the chicken I think had some other issues with it.
fair enough. You know, at least it got to enjoy two legs for just a little bit longer up until the point.
Right.
Got to think all
Yeah.
the good, positive thoughts. Now,
Right.
other than that, was there like, of course, you did Facebook. I know, especially now that I've been printing for a while, is I get the requests from family and friends. Did you ever have any crazy or somebody that was always like, "Can you make this? Now, can you make this? Can you make this?" Knocking at your door every day.
Not too many like friends. I did have one guy come to me and like he found me on Facebook and he's like, "Hey, can you print me a Mandalorian helmet?" And I printed one, and then he ended up getting like 6, and then I'm on different stuff, and then yeah, just there's a few people who kind of stuck around, just kind of wanted stuff over and over again, you know.
Oh, yeah, especially when it's like cool stuff, like a Mandalorian helmet. Like, oh wow, I've got my
Right.
own helmet now, and I don't have to go pay $600 plus for it. So now,
Totally.
of course, which we'll get to your newer models here in a little bit. When you were printing those, did you ever finish them, like paint them or whatnot, or was it always just kind of raw prints?
I finished one, so I want to do it more. It's just so time consuming. I finished one for my nephew, so I made like I don't remember what scale it was. It was like a 80% Mandalorian helmet, something like that. And that's like the only one I've ever like taken like to the full like glued it all together, sanded it, painted it, finished it. Put the visor in. It was a ton of fun though. I really enjoyed it.
And in the end, did it fit him?
It did, yeah.
Oh,
I think he still has it, yeah.
I'd hate to have all that work and then oh hey, yeah, just
Right.
now it's a shelf piece. He
Right.
probably had to fight his parents about wearing it to school every day.
I'm sure at the beginning, yeah.
So now, of course, you've transitioned, you've printed different things from technical to kind of fun to requests. When did you start getting into? We'll go. Okay, so what you were talking earlier is the big bricks. So that name was more modeled around the fact of what you were designing at the time.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It was purely a reflection of like the content at that time. Yeah.
So then, for those that don't know the story, you want to tell like kind of what you designed and then why it was no longer the big bricks and kind of transitioned to the kit kiln.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the first, I mean, it was a basically a 6-inch, or not a 6-inch, it's like a 9-inch tall Lego figure. So basically, like just think Lego figure but massive scale. You can still see some of them online here and there. I think the Lego group has kind of slowly been trying to get them removed, which makes sense.
Fair.
Anyway, so the first one I designed was like really early in my 3D printing stages. And then I kind of sat on it for a long time, and then I shared one eventually, like on like a printables contest. There was like I think it was like articulated figures or something like that.
Okay. Yep.
And I was like, oh, that works, because like the arms move, the legs move, the hands move, the head moves. Like, oh, that works. So I sent it and did one of the ones I had did really well in that. So I thought, oh, I guess I might as well just design some more because people like them. So I designed a few more while I was still on printables. And in that time, that's kind of when I started developing like my kind of signature thing of like basically zero post-processing, zero like waste, kind of the idea of like no supports, no multi-material system, no glue. So like stuff snaps together.
Everybody can print it.
Right. So that's kind of when I developed that. And then that was going for probably, so this was last year. That was probably from like February to like July-ish time. And then one of my models that I was sharing on things got removed from their front page. And I was like, oh, that was weird. It was like just there. And it was a free model. It was, I think, like a Thor brick figure. I was like, oh, that was weird. It got removed. Interesting. So I like reposted. I didn't repost it. It just got like hidden because on things you can have like private models. So it got taken from public and changed private. So like nobody else could see it, but I could still see it. So it wasn't like deleted. It was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder why that happened. So then I made it public again so that people could see it again and start downloading it again. And then I got reached out to by a team member at Fangs, and they were like, hey, a certain company reached out. They just asked that we remove that from the front page. Like, we're not sure what it means. We'll let you know. And then nothing else ever actually came of it. So like I didn't receive like any letter from
from all that stuff.
Right. I never received anything. But like at that point I was like, okay, if they don't like it on the front page, they probably don't like it in general. So I'll respect that and change. So I didn't and that was like an ongoing thing. I didn't know what was going to happen for a few weeks. So I kind of kept up as business as usual for like a week or two.
For that email.
Right. I kind of kept business as usual for like a week or two and released like the final things that I had been working on. And then I cut it off. Just trying to be like respectful to that company. And I never want to do anything like out of like just like my own personal interest, you know. Like obviously a lot of the stuff I still create would still be considered like fan art and like based on like kind of other people's original work. And I try to be as respectful as I possibly can, and I try to create like pieces and a community that uplift everything that I love, you know.
Absolutely. Yep.
So anyway, so that's where the transition kind of happened. And then I realized, okay, so I'm going to make something else. So I actually didn't jump into the chunkable figures at that point. At that point, that's when I thought like, what's like the core of my stuff that people liked? Well, obviously they liked that it was brick figures because those have been popular for years, 3D printing and 3D printing. But I think people really gravitated towards the idea of like being able to print things in separate parts and have their own kind of project to put together, because people love like you brought up like post-processing. Did I take any like the prints to the final like painting, sanding, and stuff like that? Yep. I think people like the idea of that, but like when it gets into like a project that takes days or weeks, it becomes hard to do it even once, but it becomes impossible for most people to do it over and over again.
It's less enticing. Yeah. Because
right.
Like, well, what if I messed it up? This and that. Do I have to follow? You know, when I have to start flipping through pages, and it's and props to those people that do it. And some of those models are amazing. But like, yeah, it's just less inviting to. I would say the majority. I agree with you. It's just we want something we can print. It doesn't take forever, and that we can throw together. That doesn't take forever.
Totally. If you have to go to Home Depot 3 times to complete the project, that's probably not gonna get as many people.
You need this bolt, this screw, and then there's also this odd screw that you can only get on AliExpress, and it's going to take 4 weeks to get to. You know,
exactly.
I'm not building that anymore.
It's like the first printer. It's like the first printer I built. I remember I ordered like a bunch of stuff off AliExpress, and it took like 2 months. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, so then just the pivot, just like I was like just speaking with my wife and like other people. Just like, okay, what can we do? So it's just kind of, let's just keep with that idea of like the no supports, no EMS, no glue. Let's stick with that because people I think like that. And then just kind of naturally my like community that I had built, a lot of them liked just nerd stuff that I was into, the same types of shows, same type of video games, the same type of, you know, all the typical stuff that a lot of us like. Right. So then I started making stuff that, you know, designs from that. Like my first design was like an X-Wing. That was the same, no supports, no EMS, no glue, right? I think I did like an X-Wing and then a Wally. I think those are like my first two. And then it's been the same stuff since then. And then like a few months into that, I expanded into like the chunkable line and started making those characters. And then later on, I started making like some larger props that are like the exact same. You can see Mjolnir here up on my shelf behind me. It's like a full size Mjolnir, but it's the same thing. Like you don't have to post process it and finish it to have the full size prop, you know. And some lend themselves better to that kind of thing than others. You know, like guns are awesome because they're really like they're already kind of chunky and sturdy, so it lends itself well to that process.
It makes it an easy process to design and print. Yep.
Right. Well, and I'm always trying to find new stuff and expand. So yeah.
And all your designs, as you talked, is like is not having to paint them, not having to do supports and things like that. That's pretty much how, you know, well, I found you through Instagram and everything else, but that's kind of how we connected, was the fact that you were kind of already using, obviously when you have all these different characters, they all have different colors. You need a wide range of colors. And you were already using our product. I don't even know how long before I kind of got in contact with you, and we connected there. But so has that ever been, was that a thing right off the rip once you started designing the multicolors? It was like, hey, let's find at least one company that has the colors, or was that choice made just by chance?
Yeah, it wasn't at the beginning for sure. Sorry.
No, there's other filament companies out there. We completely understand.
It does speak to the quality of your stuff though. So it was in between Facebook and like selling my designs, I did Etsy for a little while. And when I first started with Etsy, I was using kind of all over the place filaments. Just filaments like I use like Duramic and Hatchbox, Overture. I was using all those, and then I found I'm gonna say it's probably one of your most popular colors. I'm assuming your muted green.
The muted colors. Yes, the muted greens or muted colors altogether are amazing. Yep.
Right. I found your muted green, and I was instantly obsessed with the color. I was completely obsessed with it. My wife was too. We both loved it. It was our favorite color. We were doing like at the time I was selling like watering cans and plant pots that I had designed, the typical stuff that like a lot of people design when they first get into 3D printing, like plant pots and plant stuff, and
whatever.
So I was selling that on Etsy for a few months, and then I got hooked on the muted green immediately. So then I explored your other colors. It quickly adapted like the base colors like whites, blacks, grays. Started using Polymaker stuff, and I'm obsessed with matte. As I'm sure you're probably aware at this point, most of the people who know my stuff know that I'm obsessed with matte. Before? Yeah, right.
Once or twice,
right. And yeah, your guys is what was Polyterra and now Panchroma matte. The range of colors. Since I've been designing since I switched to being the kit kiln. Since then, I've only used Polymaker matte. Besides like a few random needs, like you can see there's a Master Chief helmet here behind me. The Silk Gold, I'm gonna use Silk Gold for his mask because it makes the most sense.
Oh, yeah. We know that there's some colors that we don't currently produce, and that
right.
always changes, always grow. But that's what's nice is having multiple companies out there, because even myself, I was the same as you before I worked for Polymaker, and when I was printing for years, I didn't use Polymaker for a while. I just was buying whatever was cheap, whatever was available.
Right.
There's a Micro Center. Right. I'll get some Inland here. I'll get some Amazon here. So I was the same way. And then exactly like you is I won some through giveaways, and then I finally went to the site to see the catalog. Like, oh, there's a lot more than this than I thought there was.
Right.
And I kind of fell in that same rabbit hole, and then down we went, and now here I am. So.
Right. I mean, I think that speaks to your just a point you touched in there. Like you guys' filament isn't as cheap as some of the other stuff, but honestly, personally, like I respect that. Like I feel like that speaks to the quality of your content, the quality of what you guys produce. I think a lot of the other stuff, I think it attracts people who are first into the hobby. And unfortunately, I think it can turn some people off or cause issues for a lot of people, and they don't understand why, So I'm always trying to convince the people who are designing my models. I have like all of my affiliate links are linked to Polymaker. All like my files, the file names are just Polymaker colors. That's all they are. Yeah. They're just Polymaker colors. So like the file names are like Army Beige, Cotton White, muted green, Army Dark Green.
And that makes it so easy too, though. I've printed a handful. As I told you, I printed a larger one than my daughter stole, and it's because I'm the same way. Especially number one, I'm indecisive. But when I go to download a model and I see the picture of it, and especially if I download it because I see the picture, I'm like, that looks awesome. I want to print that. Like I don't want a variation of, or like, do I use the wrong color for skin, or this color's. It could look off, and I always worry that. So for something I can just go to and be like, okay, and I have peanut brown and I've got earth brown and
exactly
this and that. It makes it so much easier. So no, I appreciate that, because I know a lot of people are like that, is they're indecisive, or I want that one. So that helps direct them right to it. But no, it definitely works. Now on all the chunkables and everything else that you've printed, do you know, have you ever kept track of like how many models, let's say not so much the educational stuff when you were in school, but more of the, I guess, the available for public models? Have you ever kept track of like how many do you currently have?
Yeah, so Things actually has like a little like I won't say pointless, but basically pointless like achievement system. So they
Okay.
kind of like let you know when you hit certain milestones. One of the ones I just hit was 100 models on my Things page. So I have 100 models on there, and then if I counted all the other stuff that I had designed with the bricks, I think we had close to like 40. So
All right.
somewhere around there is how many we've had available in the last like year and a half. But we release on our Kiln page, we release about 2 models a week.
Pumping them
So
out
a year
nonstop.
from now, it'll be about double that, roughly. You know.
Just now going back on that process of, you know, what you're going to create, what you're going to model. Do you have like a whole project board, or do you kind of just, you know, go by the seat of your pants? Like, how do you plan that out
Yeah.
on what's the next?
Yeah, yeah, mostly the latter. I should have the former, but I have a really awesome Discord community that I've been extremely grateful for. Early on, I started a Discord, and it's just steadily been growing. It's not quite as big as the Polymakers Discord, but it's been steadily
We have a little
growing,
more
and that's
exposure though.
yeah. That's been a huge source of guidance to what to create next. I try to release polls frequently to gauge what people are interested
Interest.
in. As far as like uh, type of model, if it's like a character or a vehicle or a weapon, so like I try to gauge like who likes what most, and then just like within that kind of what genres, like non-fan art or fan art, or what kind of specific fan art do you guys like the most, or like what size of models, or things like that. I try to do my best to gauge where people are at, what they like the most. And so far, for the first 100 models, I think that's led us pretty well at creating content that people are constantly excited about, constantly into. And yeah, I'm excited to see where we go. Yeah,
Well, that's what I love about like the chunkable models is I don't even need to see the title of who it is. I mean, obviously some of the stuff's easy. You know, it's got a Ghostbuster symbol on a jacket. You know, it's a Ghostbuster. But
right.
like every one of your models are recognizable, yeah, and that's, I think, is a great thing to show just how well you're doing these models and setting them up with whether the colors, the design, etc. Is because for the most part it's kind of a standard shape. It's not detailed, it's not cheekbones and this and that, why you can do like lines and all that, but is every one of your models is recognizable. Yeah. And maybe that's because I had no life as a child, so I know all the cartoons and all the movies. But I see them, and it's always a joy. Like I said, I see the next one. It's like, you know, I don't even need to read what it is. Like I know who this character is right off the rip.
Right.
You know, the Office people. As soon as those come out, like that's the Office. I know that. Obviously, Dwight's an easy one. That's, he'll stand out.
Right,
Anything, but no, I give compliments to you on that, of just being able to get the essence of the character in, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but like in a simple build, you know, in a simple shape, I
Right.
guess, is good. And was that something? Obviously, I know you kind of had the brick stuff, so you kind of went with a, you know, inspired by that. Was it something that you worked on for like the initial chunkable of different variations, or was that kind of, you went right with that, and that was the shape and design that stuck with them?
No, yeah, it was probably a good 2 weeks of like kind of just going back and forth on like the base shape. So there's like a base file that we use to design all of the chunkables, and it was probably, yeah, a week or two going kind of back and forth on that, and kind of trying to honing in, even before like actually sitting down and designing it, trying to hone in on like what kind of proportions we wanted for it, just trying to kind of look at what's already out there and not trying to copy anybody exactly, but kind of find out what people like, and
Get a
kind of find
good
land on a
style.
shape that, right. And so in that, we kind of came up with the idea of like, okay, what if we had like an oversized head, just like a really big head. And then so I went with that, and then kind of just generated like some like idea images, I was obsessed with it from the beginning. I think one of the first ones we generated was just kind of this like little armored chunk. We actually haven't made that specific one yet, but it's just like a little armored one. It just like immediately, the big head. So then the first one I did for that was one of the first ones I did for the bricks, which was a stormtrooper. So I did this, just brought over the stormtrooper and did that one in our chunkables, and it was like, yeah, instantly I was like, yeah, I'm obsessed with this. And a lot of people have liked it, you know, because a lot of people kind of stuck around from the bricks, and they said I wasn't quite sure, but you know, now that I'm making them, yeah, they're sweet. So it's been fun.
And that's I like too, is, you know, different ones. Some of them where you're doing sets. I'll reference again because I love The Office. Is, you know, The Office sets. I'm a sucker that I have it downloaded. I haven't had it printed because I know as soon as I print one of them, I have to print the other three. It's like that little meme of, oh, well, he needs a friend. Well, he needs a friend. He needs a friend. So now with like memes like that, is, do you ever follow memes or follow, like, you know, what's popular in culture at the time, where you kind of try to capitalize on that also?
I probably should more so. To be totally transparent, I hate social media. I the only reason I have an Instagram account is to showcase the stuff I'm designing. So before that, I haven't had like any social media for like years. It's not me, and that's totally fine for people who that is them. So I'm pretty bad at it because I'm not in tune with it whatsoever. So people will be like, hey, have you seen this, or have you heard about this? And I like just have no idea what they're talking about, you know.
Before I started this job, was my social media was Facebook only for Marketplace, and that was it. Like I had accounts at Instagram X, never once. I think even to this day, I've still never posted anything. Anything posted on like X was something where like you had to register and repost this for an entry for a giveaway. It's like, I never use them. You know, now of course it's part of what I do, but I still don't use my personal ones. It's like mine experience is all through the Polymaker accounts at this point.
Totally. Yep. Same.
But now with, again, on the chunkables and everything, is most of the time it's you know, the humanoid character. Have you went away from that for any designs? I mean, like Marshmallow Man's still humanoid. Have you went off the designs of humanoid or and plans of any that you have in the works you can talk about?
As far as like the characters go, I would say the close, but he's still super humanoid, like a little Grogu chunk, but he's still, so no, I mean, not really. Just because the base, a lot of what we do is just we take the base and kind of build a skin onto it, you know? So if it wasn't that, I guess it wouldn't feel like it's a chunkable. So I haven't explored, but like a lot of people requested stuff like a chunky R2D2 or something like that, you know?
That'd be it'd be interesting to see how you take that, 'cause I mean that's already kind of the shape. Like
exactly, right? So it's like I haven't really explored non-humanoid stuff, but like we just did Mario, so like maybe soon we'll do like a Bowser, and he's humanoid, but he also has a lot of like extra stuff to him. So maybe that, you know,
he'd be a really chunky, he would be a chunky chunkable.
Right. If you chunky,
but of course,
hefty.
You know, the viewers can't see right now, but you know, if you want to go on memes right now, you know, that right there that you can see and they can't, that guy in a chunkable, I guarantee you make a TikTok about it with the little voiceovers. Discord knows what I'm talking about. My latest man crush. But if you get that, you know, I'd pay for a commission on that guy, because that's how much I think he's hilarious. But yeah, other than that, with the printers and everything else, what did you initially start with? Do you remember your first printer? You said you were like AliExpress parts and pieces.
Yeah, so I built like a Prusa i3 clone. So I had a buddy who I had never, I'm sure I had heard of 3D printing, but like I hadn't really seen or dealt with 3D printers whatsoever. This was in like late 2018. So he had ordered stuff to build like his own clone. And looking back, they were just like that first one we built, that he ordered, he was just such a garbage printer. Like, but we were so obsessed with it. Like I remember the first night when we built it, we got it put together. I remember we had like Tostitos and queso, and we were just munching on that and putting this printer together. And then when it first laid down plastic, it was like a dozen Christmases in one. You know, we were just so pumped. It works. Right. We were just so pumped to see it print. And we were like engineering nerds, so like we were excited about like being inside Marlin and like preparing Marlin for the printer that we had built and like all this stuff. You know, we were just so pumped, and like all like the little boards and all the wiring it all up. You know, we were just pumped. So that was the first one I had like gotten my hands on, and then I was immediately obsessed. And I owe a lot to this friend. I've told him thank you before, but I need to keep telling him thank you for getting me into the hobby. But I was immediately obsessed, and then I ordered my own parts off AliExpress, and it was probably like a few $100 worth of parts. Ordered them; they're gonna take a while. So then I went into school and machined like my own frame.
Oh,
So
nice.
like it was like all extruded, not extruded. I think like the bars on the bottom of the printer were like some like extruded aluminum, and then the frame was like sheet aluminum that I just cut like. I think Prusa at the time had like, because their like frame in the middle is basically just like a sheet of aluminum. I think they're new. The MK4 is, I think the MK4 is cast aluminum, but the MK3S was like a sheet aluminum. So I cut that frame out and then cut like the front and back frame, because I think they're all just sheet aluminum. And then I think I had some extrusions between them. And then made like a little clone. Like they had like all their stuff's open source, right? So they have like their 3D printable parts files online. So I took that to like my school's 3D printer and had them print all the parts for me.
That way you're ready as soon as the parts rolled in.
Right. Because my buddy's printer couldn't print them. He wasn't near good enough. So I took him to like the school. I think they had some Prushas. So I had them print me the parts, got those, machined the frame, put it all together. It's actually a funny story. I got fired from my job for machining the printer at school, because I was a what's the word? Like for lack of better words, like janitor. Like I was a custodian. There we go. Okay. I was a custodian in the engineering building, and so I would just go in like after I was done working and
set it up,
machine this frame, and they didn't like that. But I got my first 3D printer out of it, so I'll take it.
There you go. And then look where it got you, right? You know, it's unfortunate, right. But you know, some of those speed bumps, you know, curve you in the right direction.
It's a funny story, and I fully accept it.
There you go. That's good when you can look back and laugh on it. And like I said, again, it's really, without that, where would you be? Maybe the same place, right. but you would have less of a story to tell.
Right.
So now, since that printer, do you still have that printer around? I love to ask if everybody has their first printer.
No, I wish I would have kept it. No, I remember. So like after probably like 9 months with that printer, I upgraded it a ton of times. So it went from like a little like extruded aluminum to like basically like full extruded aluminum, like a 300 by 300 bed with like 16 inches of Z height. So I made it huge.
It's a big guy. Yeah.
It started small, but then I upgraded it slowly and just made it massive. I kept a lot of like the same like electronics, but just upgraded like the hardware and stuff. And then I eventually sold it and bought a Prusa MK3S Plus, and then had that for a while. And then I bought a couple MK4s when they came out. And then when I first got on things, they had like their weekly contests, and they were quite lucrative a year ago. So
yeah, they came out the gate big.
Right. Right. So from those, I ended up buying one of these X1s, and I immediately sold both my MK4s and then bought another X1. So then I had two X1s for a while, and I was just obsessed with the bamboos.
And is that where your current fleet is at? Is just the two X1s, or do you have more?
Yeah, so I guess you can't see right here. I have the four X1s right there, and that's all I use. They're just, in my eyes, they're perfect machines. I've had like been using two of them now for over a year, and then two others for the past like 3 or 4 months. And
oh, we lost you here. I was just thinking to myself, this might not actually happen this show, but there we go. We got you back here.
Oh, there we go.
But I don't even know where I cut it off at because I seen it black out. But yeah, you said you just had the two for about a year and the other two for a little less than.
Yeah, I had the two for about a year and the other two for like 3 or 4 months, and I've had just basically zero issues with them. I've had like a handful of failed prints, honestly, like barely any. They're just such good printers.
Oh yeah. Now, when you're using those to print the chunkables, are you to the point now when you design a new one that you can just send it to the printer and then it comes off the printer and it's good? I mean, I'm sure you probably test each model, but do you have to make any iterations now, or have you got it down to kind of a process?
Right. For almost all of the models now, any iteration usually just comes down to a little bit of like tolerancing.
For the pieces.
Just because we kind of,
together.
I mean, the printers work the same every time. So it's like over the past year, you know, we've built principles that we design on. So we don't, there's certain things we do and there's certain things we don't do. And we know that those things are like they just work, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, a lot of the time, a lot of stuff needs no iteration, but typically some stuff does, and it usually is just a little bit of like tolerancing.
Awesome. Yep, no, great what you're doing here. We're gonna let the community real quick. If you guys have any questions for Jacob or the Kit Kiln, go ahead and ask them in chat. I'll give it a little bit for it to get in there and people get their questions in, and then we'll end it off with a few rapid fire questions. Get your mind thinking, and then I'll let you go here. So has anybody got questions? It's usually like a 20-second ish delay. We'll just wait in awkward silence.
That's fantastic.
Now, is there any upcoming chunkables or models or projects that you're working on that you can talk about or tease?
Yeah, for sure. So you can see the master chunk behind me here.
Yeah.
This is one of the models that's coming up pretty soon. So
that's good.
I have my Discord seen this. I don't think anybody's seen this yet. This is his foot here. Anyway, so this is going to be the whole model. I'm just kidding. This is going to be a head.
Yeah, just a head and a foot.
Yeah.
Now
we have that coming up, and I've been teasing it for a little while on my Discord server. But we are opening up a new store on things pretty soon.
Okay. Is that the order to print thing?
No.
Sorry, I heard the store. I knew that was one of their new things.
Yeah, Things has like a product on demand where you can order printed models. We have the Kit Kiln on Things. We're gonna be opening up a new store on Things. I haven't told anybody what it's called yet, but it's gonna be called the Loot Lab. So the idea, the new store is gonna be focused on like kind of like role playing game weapons.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like a series of kind of a little bit more chunkier weapons that are really kind of more aimed towards kids. But honestly, we've been designing them now for a couple months to get prepared for it, and we've been obsessed with all of them. So like a couple examples here are like this like axe. So this is like
very awesome.
Again, fully 3D printed, no post processing, no glue, and everything snaps together. It's not like crazy big, it's kind of more of a kid size. Or like we have like you can see my big Mjolnir back here, but here's like our kind of mini Mjolnir. But it's all the same stuff. So if you were at Rocky Mountain and you stopped by our table, we were giving away a bunch of these little daggers, and this is on my Things page. You can download this and print it. But it's all gonna be similar to that. So like this is one of our upcoming ones. So this is like a fire dagger or whatever. So it's kind of similar, to that one. It has there's like a center pin, and everything slides down on top of it, and then there's just like a series of I can show you here. There's like a series of pins and stuff that you put in and press in,
snap in, yep,
to lock it all together.
Satisfying. I heard that snap in, and it's just always so satisfying.
Right. And then once it's all together, it's solid. It's not coming apart. Yeah. So just fun little weapons like this that honestly, because they're way simpler than a lot of our kits on our current page, like it's super easy for like kids to put together. Really fun and quick prints. Like all of them, besides like the head of like this Mjolnir, like all of them print, especially if you have a couple printers, all of them print in a couple hours, like really quickly. And you can snap them together. A ton of fun. So that's coming up pretty soon.
Awesome. And that was the Loot Lab?
Yeah, it's gonna be called the Loot Lab. Yep.
Loot Lab. There you go. Keep your eyes peeled for it. Let's see.
Yeah, if you're
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if you're a sleuth, you can find the page on Things. It's kind of hard to get to, but it is there.
It's there. It exists. Let's see. Nightcry is asking, what was your printables page name?
Printables. So I mean, at first it was just my name, just Jacob Cardwell. And then it was Big Bricks, and now it's the Kit Kiln. So it's been the same page the entire time, but I just changed names, and it's currently the Kit Kiln. Yeah.
And let's see. Seagork Designs asks, what is the next step for the Kit Kiln? I would say you just kind of answered that, the Loot Lab.
Yeah. So we have been toying with the idea because we released we released this model this week, like the Mario Kart with that the chunkable fits on top of.
Awesome.
I sent out a poll today in my server, and he's probably in there. I sent a poll out today in my server asking if people would be interested in the idea of having more vehicles that chunks can fit in. And a lot of people really, really like that idea. So we'll probably be doing more stuff like that for sure.
Love accessories. Yeah, when they can add in a flower, a mushroom, or something, and everything else. You make the go-kart, now you're gonna have to make all the weapons for Mario Kart.
Right, all the shells and the banana, and yeah, right.
Let's see here. I want to make sure I don't miss any. Make happy. Stormbreaker. Builder's Mark is asking Stormbreaker when.
Oh, that's a good question. Stormbreaker on the kit kiln or on the new store? And the new store might come before the kit kiln. I don't know.
There you go.
The full one. The full one's pretty big and intricate.
Soon TM, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
See, Jennifer Tan on YouTube asks, "What's the average time it takes to design a new chibi or chunkable?"
The chunkables are much quicker than like the more intricate kits typically. I say that, but then like the Master Chief chunkable, he's like fully armored, so that's going to take quite a while. But if it's like a simple one that's just kind of like a few features and just like a head and hair, not long, like 5 hours, 5 to 10 hours maybe.
Just got it down pat at this point. You said you got a good base that you can just kind of build off of. So
a lot of the stuff like we already know how it's going to perform. So
there you go. Along with that, is there any chunkables that has been your Achilles that you just can't get right?
Oh man, I don't know if any chunkables, because the chunkables again, they're typically a little bit easier, and there's the solutions are easier to find. But man, I'll tell you, I started an F-14 a few months ago, and I do not know why, but the surfacing on it would just murdered me. And after like a full day of work trying to just get the wings just right and get it looked, I gave up. I had to put it on the shelf, and I will go back to it at some point, but it got me. Yeah.
Had enough out of it for that time.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Bearded Printer asks, why no beard?
Why no beard? I can't grow it. This is, I mean, you probably can't even see anything. You think I'm rubbing a baby smooth chin, skin. But this is like all I can grow. So that's why.
There you go. Let's see. Tony Wright asks, sorry if I somehow missed, but any chance of the A-Team Magnum PI, Knight Rider, or us big kids?
Yeah. Those have been requested quite a bit. Like the A-Team van, a bunch of people requested that. Yeah. There's the list. The lists are long, so we'll get to stuff. We'll get to stuff at some point for sure.
There you go. And then I'll go ahead and move to rapid fire questions, and then I'll let you get out of here. But the first one we always ask, and I might already know this from the earlier questions we talked about, is what is your favorite filament color? And it can be any brand, but your go-to color and or surface effect.
I will say for the longest time, my go-to color was Prusa Galaxy Black. We made a joke about that on another stream I was on Monday. That was for the longest time.
Galaxy.
For the longest time, that was my color, but now I would say it's the Panchroma Matte Ash Gray. Yeah, I'm obsessed with that color. That or the muted white. Those two together, I'm obsessed with them.
Together even, especially for sure. Okay, and then a second question I always ask is, out of everything that you've printed, it doesn't even have to be your own model, but it can be, is what is the one print that you're most proud of?
I mean, out of everything I've designed on my store so far, I would definitely say Wally. It was like the second big kit that I designed. And it's still my most popular kit on my page. I mean, I'm sure for a lot of reasons, the content, but just the mechanics of it and stuff. I'm really proud of like being early in the stages of the page and having produced that. It was a fun model. And I had a lot of pushback in my mind to like make it simpler, like not make the tracks move, not make the arms move or the head move. But I'm really glad I took the extra time to do that. So I'm really not grateful, but really proud of that one.
Yep. And then now from all the designs that you've done, we'll stick with the characters themselves. What has been your overall favorite character, whether it be in your design or just a favorite character in all the movies, cartoons, everything?
Yeah, that's hard. I was just talking about this today. I love like the armored ones that are like armored. I would say Buzz Lightyear isn't quite armored, but he does kind of have like
Mhm.
the suit on, and he was
Yep.
the most recent one, and he was a ton of fun. So I might have to say Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, he was very, very intricate, a lot of fun design.
And then the kit kiln, where does it come from?
Just totally nowhere.
A
I mean,
good
so the idea of
story.
the idea of
end.
kits, honestly, I like somebody. I think somebody said it earlier in the store. I like alliterations. I think they flow well. So like Big Bricks, Kit Kiln, Loot Lab.
Hey, yeah, there you go. I didn't even think of that.
I guess it was just the idea that like a kiln is something used to like create stuff,
Make
and there's heat, and it's kind of like a forge, and it's that kind of idea,
3D
and we're making
printing.
kits. So yeah, that's it.
Hey, you know what? It still does have a story. But,
Right.
and then the last rapid fire question for those that want to download really awesome, chunky style figures, where can they go? And then also, where can they go to maybe have some input to possible future designs?
Yeah, so go to things.com, search the Kit Kiln on the main page. It'll pop up. And then soon here, search the Loot Lab, and that'll pop up. Other sites like Printables, Maker World. I think we have some on Colts and Thingiverse. You can find our free models on those sites as well.
And it's all the kit kiln across everything, correct?
Correct. And then where to chat with us? Discord. Discord's always the best. All of our pages have links to our Discord. All of our model pages have links to Discord. So join there, come hang out. It's a fun place to hang out. And yeah, for premium members, we offer like polls and like more ways for them to get feedback, regular giveaways, and then for everybody, there's a ton more channels where you can submit requests and things like that.
There you go. Have your voice heard, and maybe that one character you've been holding out for. Maybe you can convince the masses to put it in and have Jacob do it here. So I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. Always great learning more about everybody that we have on here. You're no exception. I love the models. I've loved them from the very start. And again, have printed many, but there's many, many more in the project list that I just haven't got around to. So slow it down so I can catch up.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see when's the next event that you'll be at in person.
Yeah, I just got my email from 3D Printopia that I'm good to go for a table there. So the plan is to be there. So September.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the end of September. Until then, you have a wonderful day, and keep on pumping out those models, and I'll try to keep up with printing them.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. I appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out.
Have a good night, man.
Okay, see ya.
And another one in the books, Jacob, the Kit Kiln, awesome guy. We joked at the beginning before the show started that I didn't get a chance to really talk to him at Rocky Mountain Rep Festival because it's so busy. So this was my catch up with him to kind of get back on track of what's he up to. And as he just said too, the Loot Lab, go do your sleuthing all over the things.com. Find it because he does awesome models already. To do awesome models and another, just especially for kids, I think that's going to be great. Number one, it's to print something that's easy, but print something that's easy, multicolor, and something fun for them to assemble again easily. The big thing there is easy. Is I think great. I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see that open up and everything can become available there. But make sure you go follow them all across the board. The Kit Kiln, as he said, on the socials, on all the repositories. Go check out his models. They are easy to print, and then as he said, multicolor does not mean that it has to have an AMS. With his multicolors are all print the parts, put them together, and nothing super over difficult. So great designing and amazing models. And for those that didn't know what I was pointing at that you can't see right here, is Chit. I'm not gonna go into it. Discord has already heard enough. I think it'd be a great model. So we'll see if we can convince him. But other than that, let's get real quick to the projects we have going on. And first up, we have Polymaker figurines led by Antoine Dimensions, ! PMF in chat. That'll get you a link to the link tree all across the socials. He is producing videos nonstop of Pokemon. We've been through the whole entire first version. We're 3/4 of the way through the second version. And as he releases those videos, those models then become available for free to download on Maker World. So you can print them in multicolor, single color, however you please. So go check him out, show some support there. If you haven't already, even if you're not a Pokemon fan, his videos are fun. He's a great guy. So go check him out. we also have Polymaker Education, and that's exclamation point PME, and that'll give you a link tree, and that is hosted by Creatrix Brit. Should I say Creatrix Brit or Brit? I should probably ask her how she likes me to announce that. Either way, you guys know her one way or another, and she does the same format of, as she releases the videos showcasing a new model, that model then becomes free to download, to print, and use however you please for educational uses, or if it's not educational, you just want to print a dinosaur because you like dinosaurs, you can do that too. We won't hold it against you. We don't verify your education uses, but those, again, every time a video is released, it's free to download on MakerWorld, and I think she has that set up on printables. So go check her out, show again support there. We also have Polymaker Sean running the Polymaker Lab channel on TikTok, and that is exclamation point PML, and he does tips, tricks, troubleshooting on prints, material, etc. A lot of good snippets of information for you or for anybody that you know might be getting into printing. Show them that TikTok. Legitly, it is a good information piece just to, you know, either find problems you've already had or problems that you might run into. So it is a good source of information, and he's dressed up as a Polymaker scientist. That's the more you know. He adds a nice fun energy. Sean's a great guy, very smart, and it's very helpful. So definitely go follow that. And last but not least, we have In Printing Color, hosted by Pezliz. That's twitch.tv/Pezliz every Wednesday, and that is exclamation point IPC in chat to get that link. There we go. Oh, somebody, Tony Wright already beat me to it. Look at that. I think you can get all of them. Good job. Appreciate it. But she hosts that show every week, and I think this last week was some HTPLA stuff, but we have more stuff, and really soon. July is going to be busy. Then then August is going to be busy, and then September is going to be there's a lot of stuff coming out. So Pezliz hopefully has her mailbox ready to accept things so we can get to her, and she'll showcase it there. You know, whether it be a new color, new material, whatever we have, we like to send to her just to see how to use it and kind of showcase good ways to use it. But you can always use your imagination and print things however you want, in whatever you want, in whatever color you want. With that said, real quick, type in the I am awesome. If you haven't already, YouTube world, I am so sorry. You got to go over to Twitch to enter. So make sure, I'll give you a little bit to get over there. Type in I am awesome in Twitch chat. That'll get you entered in for a chance to win filament. And that is worldwide. Wherever you're at, you can win stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff? I like free stuff. I won many things of Polymaker filament before I worked for him, so I do like free stuff. But while you guys are doing that, I am going to wake up my keyboard, and then we are going to see who do we have out in the realm of Twitch. Go back over to Twitch chat, and we're going to go to /raid. Okay, let's see. Let's see what she's up to today. Okay, so we're going to do the drawing here in a moment, so get that in there. I'll switch over. Oh, there we go. It's working. I am awesome in chat. Real quick, get them in there because I want to do the drawing very shortly. And then after that, we're going to raid out to CyberJules, who is working on wrapping up a Daft Punk helmet. And when she designs things or prints things and puts it all together, it's never just a simple print. There's always something extra to it. There's lighting, wiring, circuit boards, etc. So definitely go show her some support. I didn't hit enter when I typed it in. Let's try it again. But we're going to raid out to her, so make sure to show her love after this drawing. So stay for just a little bit longer. If you win, exclamation point contact in the chat. We'll give you the email, joel.finn@polymaker.com, or if you're already part of our Discord at discord.polymaker.com, or you join now, you can message me. You can say, hey, I'm so-and-so, here's proof. And, we'll get you your full filament as quickly as possible. So get that in there, and then we're going to raid out the CyberJules as soon as I do this drawing in 5, 4, 3, I know how to count backwards, 2, 1. And we got somebody is going to win, but who is it? Is the contest rigged? Is it rigged? Outcasted Wanderer. Looks like you rolled a natural 20 and you won yourself a spool of filament. So congratulations. Make sure you contact me at my email or message me on Discord. We'll get you that spool of filament. And again, people, go show some love. Tell CyberJules Polymaker says hello. And we'll be back next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, as always, with the next maker. So stay tuned. Have a good night, a good weekend, and a good week. I'll catch you next time.